All right, strap in everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into the world of Web5. You think Bitcoin was a revolution? Well, hold on to your hats, because Web5 wants to rebuild the entire internet from the ground up using similar technology. And trust me, it's a wild ride. We're talking decentralized identity, data ownership, the whole nine yards. But fear not, dear listeners, because we're here to break it all down so you don't just walk away knowing what Web5 is. You'll understand why it matters to you.
Absolutely. And to really wrap our heads around Web5, it helps to understand its place in the bigger picture of, well, the internet. So let's take a little trip down memory lane, shall we?
Time Sheen engaged. Back to dial-up in those painfully slow downloads. Okay, maybe not that far back. But in all seriousness, the internet hasn't just been sitting still.
Right. We started with good old Web 1.0, your basic one-way street. Like, imagine a digital encyclopedia. You could read and consume information, but that was pretty much it.
Ah, simpler times, right.
Right. Then came the wave of Web 2.0, the social media boom. Suddenly, everyone's a content creator, sharing their lives, their thoughts, their cat videos.
And their data. Don't forget the data.
Oh, right. Tons and tons of data.
And big tech built empires with all that data. I mean, don't get me wrong, cat memes, they're a powerful force. But did we accidentally give away the whole kingdom in the process?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's where Web3 enters the scene, with Bitcoin leading the charge, promising to, decentralize everything.
Decentralize, it's the buzzword of the century. But in this context, what does it actually mean?
It means taking back control. Bitcoin was like this wake-up call. It gave us this glimpse of a future where we could own and control our digital assets.
Our digital assets. So not just our Bitcoins.
Exactly. Not just cryptocurrency, but everything digital.
Okay, so we're talking digital art, music, even our online identities.
You got it. But, and this is a big but, Web3, it's still a work in progress. It's like, imagine building a high-tech skyscraper on a foundation that's, well, starting to crumble.
That's not a good visual.
Yeah, not ideal.
So we need to fix the foundation before we can build this decentralized future.
Exactly. And that's where Web 4 comes in. It's often overlooked, but it's crucial.
Web 4, this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
It's kind of the missing link. See, Web 4, it's all about decentralizing access itself. Imagine, instead of owning just your car, you own the entire road network.
Okay, now that's a new one. Usually it's all about what we do online. But now we're talking about how we even get online being different.
Exactly. Think mesh networks, where devices can connect directly to each other without relying on those central providers. It's like having a backup generator if the power goes out.
So Web 4 is like building a whole new internet on top of the old one.
In a way, yes. It's about making sure you're never left in the digital dark.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. Web 4 is about owning the roads. Web 3 is like owning the cars. But where does that leave Web 5?
Web 5, it takes all of that. The decentralized access, the digital ownership, and it goes a step further.
A step further, how? Don't leave me hanging.
Imagine, instead of just owning the roads or the cars, you own the entire city. We're not just talking about decentralizing specific things. We're talking about a truly user-owned internet.
Okay, now we're talking. But how do we get there? What makes Web 5 different from just, wishing for a better internet?
The secret sauce is how Web 5 takes these principles of decentralization and combines them with a whole new layer of technology, all built on, you guessed it, Bitcoin.
Hold on, more Bitcoin. I'm trying to wrap my head around this digital city, and now we're going deeper into the Bitcoin rabbit hole.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. Think of Bitcoin's blockchain not just as a way to track money, but as this incredibly secure way to track information. And in Web 5, that information is your digital identity.
Digital identity. Okay, we're not just talking about stronger passwords, are we?
Much bigger than passwords. Web 5 introduces decentralized identifiers, or DDs for short.
DDs, catchy.
These DDs are like digital passports that you control.
So instead of being John Smith 1984 on every platform, I have this unique ID that proves I'm me. Like a digital fingerprint, but for my online self.
Exactly. Your D becomes this anchor of trust. It verifies who you are without revealing any unnecessary personal information.
And that's where the whole privacy game changes.
Precisely.
Okay, color me intrigued. Tell me more about this privacy revolution.
Imagine having different DDs for different parts of your life. One for work, one for your social life, one for your online shopping. You share only what's absolutely necessary for each interaction.
Multiple online identities. Finally, a way to keep my love for cat memes separate from my professional life. But on a more serious note, this sounds incredibly empowering. Is this really possible with this whole DD thing?
That's just the tip of the iceberg. Web 5 takes this idea of control even further with something called verifiable credentials.
Verifiable credentials. Okay, that sounds official.
Think of it like a digital notary for any piece of information.
So like a digital diploma, but for everything.
Exactly. Need to prove you're old enough to buy a concert ticket. Your DIA can instantly verify that without sharing your actual birth date. No more handing over your entire digital life just to prove one simple thing.
This is blowing my mind. But with all this talk about owning our data, how does the average person actually benefit? Like, am I going to be swimming in Bitcoin just for logging into my email with a DID?
It's not just about logging in. It's about fundamentally changing the power dynamic of the internet. Right now, companies profit off your data. With Web 5, you become the one in control.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Tell me more. How does this whole data as currency thing play out in the real world? So instead of like Mark Zuckerberg up in his metaverse, it's me who's raking in the dough.
Exactly. Well, maybe not raking it in just yet, but you get the idea. It's about shifting the balance of power.
Okay, I like the sound of that. But how would it actually work? Paint me a picture.
All right, so picture this. AI and machine learning, they're only getting more sophisticated, right? But they need data, tons of it. Web 5 flips the script. Instead of giving your data away for free, you can rent it out on your terms directly to researchers, developers, whoever needs it.
Hold on, so I'm picturing a world where instead of those creepy targeted ads for like unicorn slippers, because I Googled mythical creatures once, I'm getting offers to contribute my anonymous data to like cure cancer or something.
Exactly.
And I'm actually getting paid for it.
You're not just a product being sold to the highest bidder anymore. You're an active participant in this new data economy.
Whoa. Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Ah.
But let's bring this down to earth for a second. We've talked a lot about the theory and the potential, but what does a typical day actually look like in this Web 5 utopia? Take me through it.
Sure, let's fast forward a few years. You wake up, and instead of being bombarded with notifications from every app and their mother, your AI assistant, which is powered by your own personal node, by the way, gives you a personalized rundown of your day, completely private and tailored to you.
Okay, so far so good. No more feeling like my phone is listening to my every conversation.
Precisely. Now let's say you need to pay a bill.
Ugh, the bane of my existence.
Not anymore. No more digging for passwords or wrestling with two-factor authentication. You simply verify your identity with your DID, maybe a quick scan of your fingerprint, and you're done.
You had me at no passwords. But what about the rest of my day? Let's say I need to connect with colleagues, collaborate on a project. Is Zoom a thing of the past in this brave new world?
Not necessarily, but imagine this. Instead of relying on a third-party platform, you connect with your team through a decentralized app, one that's hosted across your personal nodes. So you're in control, the data stays within your network.
And probably fewer awkward you're on mute moments, which is always a plus.
Exactly.
But there's still this one thing that bugs me about the internet today. Those targeted ads. You know, the ones that follow you around like a lost puppy because you clicked on one thing one time and now they think you're obsessed.
Ah, yes, those. Well, remember how we were talking about reframing online identity?
Right, with DIDs and all that.
Exactly. In Web 5, you choose what you share and with whom. Those targeted ads, gone. Instead, you might see recommendations from local businesses because you've opted in to share your preferences, maybe in exchange for a small discount or something.
So not only am I getting a more private, secure online experience, but I'm also supporting local businesses. I can definitely get used to that. But, this all sounds amazing on an individual level, but what about the bigger picture? We've talked about owning our data, but what happens when we as a society collectively own the infrastructure of the internet? What changes then?
Now, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We're not just talking about faster downloads or fewer ads anymore, are we? We're talking about a fundamental shift in power.
Right now, it feels like big tech, they're holding all the cards. They control the platforms, the data. They pretty much wrote the rules of the game. But Web 5, it's like we're taking those rules, throwing them out the window and saying, we're playing by a different set of rules now.
It's a fundamental shift. Think about it. If we decentralize the internet, if we truly own our data and the infrastructure it runs on, what happens to those centralized power structures we're so used to?
You're talking about governments, corporations, even institutions we've always relied on.
Exactly. They're not the only game in town anymore.
Okay, I'm getting chills here. So we're talking about more than just a tech upgrade. Web 5 could actually change how we govern, how we work, how we interact as a society.
Imagine a world where individuals have the tools to organize, to communicate, to transact value, all without needing those traditional intermediaries.
It's like we're hitting the reset button on how society functions.
In a way, yes. It's not about erasing everything overnight. It's about introducing choice, competition, transparency.
Okay, this is some next level stuff.
Mm.
But let's be real, we're still in the early days. Web 5 might be the future, but what can people listening do right now to be a part of it?
It starts with awareness. Talk about it, share this conversation, get people thinking differently about the internet.
So spread the word. Easy enough.
Exactly. Read about Web5, follow the developers who are building these technologies, support the projects you believe in.
Knowledge is power, as they say. But let's say someone is ready to take the leap, to go beyond just reading and talking about it.
Then it's time to get your hands dirty.
Literally.
Well, not literally. But think about running your own Bitcoin node.
A Bitcoin node? That sounds awfully technical.
It's easier than you might think. There are plenty of resources out there to guide you through it.
So, no need to be a coding whiz to get involved.
Not at all. And it's a powerful way to support the network that underpins this entire vision of a decentralized future. Plus, you might even earn a little Bitcoin along the way.
Always a nice bonus.
Right. And even if someone isn't quite ready to take that step, just talking about it, spreading the word, that's huge.
Because the more people who understand Web 5, the more likely it is to become a reality.
Exactly. This isn't just about code or technology. It's about shifting our collective mindset.
It's about taking back control of our digital lives.
Precisely. Building a future where technology empowers individuals, not the other way around.
I love it. That's a future I can get behind. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. And to everyone listening, remember, the future of the internet isn't predetermined. It's being written right now by people like you.
So get informed, get involved, and let's build this decentralized future together.